I have a large distrust of horses.
Really?
Like, very large.
I got an uncle who, if there's a horse in a movie, he won't watch the movie.
I like that take.
What?
Like,
Wait
just
a
straight
minute.
up.
Wait a minute. You have what kind of healthy distrust of horses that comes from where?
A huge distrust of horses, Dan.
Because they can
been
kick
almost
you.
Killed. I've been almost killed by a horse.
Oh, like this is in person.
This is in person, real life. Mike has had similar traumatic
They're
effects.
unbelievably strong, and you don't want to get behind them.
Not only behind them, you sometimes don't want to ride them.
On them for me.
You got bucked off?
I was almost bucked off.
Mine almost flew off a cliff. We can have that conversation.
You
later
and the horse, or just the horse?
You were galloping. You couldn't control it.
So
you were headed
let me
towards,
paint you a picture.
The horse
this is
just
horrifying.
suicidal.
This is horrifying.
I don't know if I've been on a horse since then.
Why would you? What you're describing is a true horror.
So
This thing has too much horsepower. I'm gonna go off a cliff. I don't know how to stop it.
Okay, so I'm 15 years old in the Dominican Republic.
Long flowing locks.
Exactly, long flowing, and I'm like, okay, the family's like, all right, let's go horseback riding. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, me and Mike have a similar experience at Westwood Christian where they have like horses in the back and you would ride them or whatever. This particular time, yeah, it was like
I can't feel my hands because you're taking me back to a place I don't want to go.
I'm sorry, Mike. I won't bring it up again.
What is happening here? I need to know how these two young Cuban boys end up on horses accidentally,
Horse country, Dan.
thinking they're cowboys and are traumatized and never want to see horses
Pastor
again.
had a bunch of horses on the property.
I think it was something tax related.
Yeah, I got bucked off.
How did you and Tony connect over this? Like, how did you share
I don't know.
it?
It must be something in the water over at Westwood Christian because we both had traumatic horse experience. I didn't almost get flung from a cliff, though, in the DR. I did go horseback riding in the DR afterwards, and everyone else got a horse, and I opted for a donkey. I was 33.
I would too.
So the whole family goes up 45 minutes into the mountains of DR. And they're like, all right,
but now you're in the wild.
Yeah. I'm in el terreno. I'm like in the middle, in campo.
But you're 15 years old and you're like Amin is. You're
close.
You're what Amin is saying. You're shirtless and you've got flowing locks of hair.
And I'm like, hey, I ride horses back at school. Like, I'm good. I'm basically an expert. So they start picking off horses. Again, I'm a big guy. I've been a big guy my whole life.
Tony was really confident and thought he was an expert.
I'm like, I'm good. Like, I've ridden a horse
at this
before.
point have no fear of a horse. You don't even think a horse is that strong. You can handle a horse, even a wild horse.
No, I have
in
a
the
healthy
wild.
respect for the horses because of Westwood, right? They've given me a good foundation of healthy respect. Hey, don't stand behind them. Don't yank their tail. Don't do stupid shit around horses.
Not a healthy respect for if I get on this galloping creature, I have to be able to stop it.
Here's the thing, Dano.
Day one, they're like, all right, don't pull the tail. Like,
do not pull the tail. That shit will kick you through the wall.
Yes, it will kill you.
It will not do that.
Kick you and kill you, yes.
So they start divvying out the horses. Hey, you get this one, you get that one. And they go, hey, big guy, you get that one. And they point around, and it's a horse basically in like a 6-foot thing. And I'm like, why is he locked up there?
Why is he snorting?
He's got the Silence of the Lambs mask
like,
on.
why is he by himself?
Diablo.
Like Cyrus or Steve Buscemi.
That's exactly what it is.
El Diablo, now I'm scared. You've transported me to a place where I find myself scared of El Diablo because now, yes, Tony's on the horse and no one told me I can't stop it. You're headed
He's in
towards
solitary confinement by himself. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I'll get him. That's fine. So imagine there's like this huge grove. Remember, we're on like a mountainous cliff, right? So we're basically going around the mountain down to the beach. So there's this huge grove. I want to say like maybe 3 miles long of just this one straightaway with a ton of palm trees all the way down. And then all the way at the end, you can see the cliff and the ocean. It's maybe a 500-foot drop from this mountain.
Tony, I have never considered this until this moment. I thought of the horse as, yes, be careful, you'll fall off it. Not, I can't stop it, and it's a dumb animal, and it might jump to our death.
Not dumb, Dan.
Bingo.
It's taking us, you and me both.
It's like, I've had enough.
Thelma and Louise.
Your turn.
Hold my hand.
These people have ridden El Diablo for the last time.
So,
9 years of this guy brings the family in. A 15-year-old from Miami doesn't know shit, puts him on me. This is the time we die.
I'd rather die than live again in captivity.
So we're in this huge line, right? So we're all going kind of slow in this line. We're maybe like a quarter mile into this like 3-mile stretch. So one of the families that we were with, another guy who's an experienced horse rider, tells one of the Dominican guys like, hey, can I go? Like the horse wants to go. Can I go? And he's like, yeah, for sure. So he gets out of the line, hits it, and this horse starts hauling ass.
Hits it, like whips it? Like
No, like just like hits the reins. Like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And this thing takes off like Seabiscuit, right? All of a sudden, I'm at like the second to last horse.
You're expecting a trot.
El Diablo looks over, sees this guy start taking off. He goes, "Oh, fuck that." Boom, snaps, and he is gone. Like, this guy could have won Kentucky Derby. Kentucky Derby. Like,
it's all right. You're reliving a traumatic experience.
I'm seeing it right now.
There was not any races going to be won. The horse
There was no
moving
races
fast.
in-
You don't
there
need
was
to
no
exaggerate
races
the
in the
story,
Dominican.
You just need to land it.
No. It's not an exaggeration. Like, my horse looks over, says, "Oh, this is a race." Okay, hold on. He gets out of line and starts flying, and I'm like, "Oh my God, okay." I can see the cliff maybe like 2 miles away.
But
and
these are horses that do this all the time.
Yes.
They chase each other. It's playtime now.
Exactly. Maybe
No one told you this.
Mine was in solitary confinement, so he was like,
So he's been punished
it's
because
game
he's
time.
bad. He's bad at this. Oh no.
So this horse not only
horrifying.
catches the other horse, blows him by, and I'm yanking these reins because that's how you stop a horse. You pull it. I'm pulling it, and he's going like this and running faster
running through it.
I'm about a quarter mile away from this cliff edge, and I'm like, oh my God,
The final stretch.
This is how I die.
I'm gonna have to jump off the horse.
Yep.
I'm 15. Like, okay, Christopher Reeve. I know he's paralyzed. Like, I may have to jump off this
I'm gonna
horse.
have to let the horse go and jump to its own suicidal death.
Yes. And I'm like, if I fall, I may die there. But if I fall off the cliff, I'm for sure dead. Yeah. Like, there's
And
no
I've got to
offense.
do
What
it
if your
soon
foot
enough
gets
so
caught?
that my momentum
Then I'm
doesn't
getting
take me
dragged.
off the cliff. But also, you got to do it soon enough that you don't also mistime it. Tony, you would.
And fly off the cliff.
Tony, you would. Now,
I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Oh, shit!
I mistimed this. Now I'm paralyzed, and also I'm flying off the cliff.
Exactly. Bingo. So we're so close, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to make a decision here. Like,
no.
I may die either way.
It's horrifying.
All of a sudden, this guy turns on a absolute dime. Okay, we're almost at like a 90, like a 65-degree angle. He turns off maybe like 100 feet from the cliff into these mangroves that have a bunch of garbage. So he went straight into the mangrove, and I'm getting poked.
Just a horrifying
I'm like,
experience.
He goes
Okay.
like
Very
20 feet
unpleasant.
into the mangroves and starts eating
Yes,
shit
of
in the
course.
mangroves.
A genuine wilderness story.
I've never been on a horse since.
I don't blame you, actually.
It's been 16 years.
We'll get to Mike's another day. Mike Schur, sorry to keep you waiting. We were all horrified by that, both the waiting time and the story. Do you have
It was totally worth it. It was absolutely worth it. You don't have to
a
apologize
great
at all.
story. Do you have yesterday, or the last time you were on, it was Tuesday. Greg Cody chose very poorly. I was mad at him. You gave him the choice of an angry University of Miami stat or a funny Steph Curry stat. And he didn't choose funny Steph Curry stat.
Or by the way, a stat involving the subject that you were talking about, which was the Charlotte Hornets and Michael Jordan. So he had a choice of three.
Chose
and the
poorly,
worst
yes.
one.
And thinks he's a star and doesn't need to
Don't give it as an option if it's that bad of a choice. I mean, geez.
Listen, I'm here to provide options for you people, and then you people decide what you want to hear. And
How
in
about
that
you come
case,
up with
he chose
only
poorly.
good options, and then we'll choose of those. I mean, geez.
I've never seen him
That
defend
option
his
was
father this
literally
much.
it was only for Mike Ryan, who wasn't even there. It was just to tease him about the rarity of University of Miami basketball doing anything interesting.
No, you're
That's
trying
all
to
it was.
you're trying to tease me now.
Okay,
Come
but
on.
No,
well,
I already gave it. It was
a
but
booze
look,
boosh
before
look,
the stat.
man, look, we are very fortunate. We make a lot of fun of him, and podcast is something you should be listening to that he does with Joe Posnanski. It's a work of joy. He doesn't sound like he's very busy, but he's a very busy person. And for months now, he's been getting up very early in the morning.
Oh, do you have a bungalow at Universal Studios Hollywood? Because I did the backlot tour and I saw yogurt from The Good Place.
Yeah, I do have a bungalow there. That's where the set was, but I do have an office there. You drove past it as you were heading in that direction. You
Yeah?
didn't know it was mine. It was on the
Are
left,
there
yeah.
are there cool interactions that happen on the Universal Studios backlot? Are you out there like I don't know, whatever you Hollywood people do, and you just bump into Jordan Peele?
That's what you imagine life in Hollywood is?
I mean,
just always running into Jordan Peele.
I ran into Mickey Rourke in the bathroom.
Did you?
Yeah.
How many offices do you have, Mike? I
Or
feel like
sh-
that's a power move. Multiple offices.
I have multiple offices, and I'm not in most of them most of the time.
Power
That's
move.
the power move.
My point is that this man is getting up to intern for us for Meadowlark Media during the pandemic because it's all hands on deck. We need people to help us. He's doing comedy. He's a comedy writer doing a stats job, and we just told him that what he brought us as an option wasn't good enough.
I don't know why I
Yeah,
got defensive for my dad. I'm sorry about that.
Earlier this year, Amin Al-Hassan referred to one of my stats as, and I quote, dog shit, end quote.
Right. So he's trying to impress us is the point. He's getting up. He's researching these stats.
How close is your bungalow to Alfred Hitchcock's? Yeah.
It's like right next door.
What? That's
You ever
wild.
see him? You ever run into him?
Have you not
I
been?
do, yeah. Him and Jordan Peele hanging out together.
Let's go ahead and do stat of the
Couple
day.
of horror guys cutting it up.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day.
All right, here's your funny Steph Curry stat. And this is accurate as of a couple nights ago. I didn't bother recalculating it because I was too lazy. If Steph Curry misses his next 1,399 three-pointers, he will still have a better career three-point percentage than James Harden.
I mean, you can speak to this greatness that is now very regular, and we're going to talk a lot about the officiating today. But Steph still being Steph, shooting from distance, and they're terrible on the road, but they beat Dallas on the road because every once in a while Steph is going to be Steph. We are really witnessing something that has no precedent. That dude.
Well, hold on. To be fair, they beat Dallas on the road in part because the referee seemed to indicate that a ball that went out of bounds was the Mavericks ball, and it turned out to be the Warriors ball, and the Warriors got an uncontested layup. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Mike, I told Dan in the pre-show, I said, the only time I've seen that happen is with my 12-year-old. Like that.
Yeah,
that
I saw it in a YMCA game.
Yeah.
And my son, it happened in a YMCA game where like one team just was still talking to their coach, and the ref decided to teach them a lesson and just inbounded the ball. That was insane. Now, what I saw, I don't know what you saw. What I saw was that he indicated Warriors ball. Then the Mavs called a timeout, and he pointed to the Mavs bench like timeout. And I think the Mavs thought that he was correcting himself and changing the call to going this way. I think that's what happened. But either way, how do you not, if you're the ref and you see what's going on, how do you not say that, guys, it's their ball? Is that not their? I guess that's not their job.
I mean, then you get into like, are they impacting, right? As long as the players know that this ball's about, play is about to resume.
We'll get to the refereeing because it should be a giant story today. People need to be, we don't usually get these in sports. The NBA guys seem fed up with the officiating, just totally fed up and are saying so. We'll get to that story later in the show. What is the Steph Curry, what do you think is special about the Steph Curry stat? The idea that he's that much better from efficiency than someone like James Harden, who's an MVP caliber great.
Dan, I'm going to tell you, this is the way I measure it, right? When we talk about who the best player is, there's an argument. The best player in the league right now, there's an argument. Who's the MVP? It's an argument. Who's the best defensive player? There's an argument. Who's the best player of all time? There's an argument. Who's the best team of all time? Argument. Who's the best coach? Argument. Who's the best shooter of all time? Nobody argues. Like, think about, and we're not naming some guy who played in the 80s. Like, no, that guy's the best. And guys nowadays, it's like, no, it's that dude. And there is no argument at all in a sport that is built on we're going to argue everything. This guy is the unquestioned, undenied, untouched, to the point where Damian Lillard, who is a great shooter and a great player and a prideful player, says, I know I'm not number one, but are you telling me I'm not number two? Like, they're literally fighting for second place.
That is crazy. And we're watching it, and there is no questioning it, but no one expects them to win the title, correct? Mike came in here today saying, hey, Lakers look good. Because everyone feels like it's wide open, and I keep looking at Milwaukee and saying it's not quite really wide open.
Well, just getting through the West would be a massive achievement considering where the season started, and I think the Lakers are navigating this LeBron absence quite well. I don't know how sustainable this is for Austin Reeves. He's playing really well.
Mike Schur, good talking to you.
LA loves Austin Reeves, by the way. All of LA is talking about Austin Reeves. They had started the MVP chant for him twice yesterday when he was at the free throw line.
I saw that. So Mike, just to be clear, have you ever met Jordan Peele?
Yeah, I worked with his now wife for a long time, and we have spent a lot of time together. Yeah.
Get out.
What about
Chelsea Peretti. Chelsea Peretti, who was on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Jordan Peele are a couple, and I worked with her for many years, and I'm good friends with her.
Nope.
what about us?
What? I don't understand what's happening right now.
Chris ruined it. Chris, what are you doing?
See you later, Mike. I'd venture to say that this right now is always a sad time for us as a sports show because we're getting to the last 16 games and we get to celebrate that our teams locally here are in the Sweet 16, but our Looks Like tournament is coming to an end. We've heard, I think, everybody who was playing in the tournament, and now we'll just give you matchups the rest of the way here. Juju, you were the star of the tournament. Your voice lent itself to the tournament and made everything a little bit funnier. In the middle of the last segment, when we were talking about Tony's horrific horse experience, horrific, I was horrified by what Tony was talking about there. You said what happened last night in the club?
So yeah, last night, a legend, Shawty Low in Atlanta. He was on the popular group D4L. They sung, Bubble Gum, Snap Your Fingers. Yeah, you feel me? And CeeLo Green from Goody Mob came in on a horse. And that brother was instantly in trouble because that horse had never heard Lil Baby that loud, and he panicked. That boy fell right on his ass. Back to you, Dan.
Okay, thank you, Juju. The fear is reasonable. We are all not just. I am always alarmed by how not outdoorsy this show is. We live in Florida. I don't think we have cascading windsurfers and boaters here. Outdoor people who love swamp stuff. But Mike and Tony, it sounds like, are the only ones with experiences around here with an animal that can kill you, with an animal that's bigger than you. You should have never gotten on the horses. Horses are terrifying.
It had a good ending, though, Dan. After he took me into the mangroves about 20 feet, almost poked my eyes out with the branches, a guy named Eugenio came in and was able to get El Diablo out of the mangroves, and I actually had to ride next to Eugenio the whole time, him holding my horse and his horse at the same time. So I was just like kind of galloping behind him or kind of to the side of him, and then he took off a coconut from a tree, and I don't like coconut, and he cut it off and gave it to me, and I was like kind of sad just sitting there fake drinking the coconut milk because I didn't like it.
What you don't understand is this is the grittiest thing anyone on this show has ever done in the outdoors.
No. I drove a dog sled.
That's true.
No,
not too long.
But hold on a second.
It didn't almost kill you.
Hold on.
I thought it was.
This is the thing, though. No, wait a minute. I've got to stop everybody here because the reason this story is horrifying to me is because what the part that Tony is leaving out is this is now a Dominican wild horse. He is living in the wilderness, and these people have trained this animal, and this is the worst and the baddest of the bunch. And this shit will play with human beings because it knows that, oh, this 15-year-old thinks it's going to ride me. I'm going to terrify the fuck out of this boy.
Wait. We applied the nickname El Diablo. For all we know, the horse's name could have been Floofy.
It could have been.
It could have been happening. No, but
Spanish.
It also, your terror could have been so Miami not ready for it that it's possible that the horse wasn't actually moving that fast.
No.
It was
moving that fast. My mom was like, I was ready to lose my son. She's like, when I saw it leave, I was like, oh my God, okay. He might not come back.
It's a wild horse. Like these people couldn't tame what this animal was. It was put in punishment, in solitary confinement, because I'm guessing it can chase down all the other horses
It was
from
the
behind.
fastest horse in the Dominican. The fastest one.
It needs to not be doing that with a human aboard unless we're trying to get away from something as a family.
Or catch something.
You know how we always have these stories about, like, there's this guy that's the best baseball player out of the Dominican, never made it to the major leagues. He's like just this guy, and he uses a milk carton as a catcher's, as a mitt or whatever. Maybe this horse is like, it should have been right there in the majors and doing the Triple Crown and everything.
No,
but because of they got into substance issues or whatever, now it's just a horse on an island.
I will tell you what happened here. That Tony was not ready for a wild horse's strength, thought himself a cowboy. I've got experience around horses, not wild Dominican horses that live in the jungle, and when they're done scaring you, just go eat some garbage in a nearby field because they're wild horses.
Well, no, he broke the
fact-
horse.
the
It's like the
fact that
horse whisperer.
that
You have to
eats-
break the horse.
The fact
He
that
broke me.
eats garbage is just
It's perfect, but
Makes him
it's
seem
that
more
kind
like
of
a
no,
donkey.
but no. What it makes him feel like, and Amin can speak to this. Like, no, that's a Dominican horse.
Yeah.
That is not. No, that's not Davy. That's not here.
It's not Black Beauty.
No, you don't understand. That's not a here horse.
That's Pedro
Secretariat.
Martinez.
That's a their horse.
Caballo, a
Un
caballo.
caballote.
Yes.
He was, dude. That guy was the strongest thing I've ever felt in my life.
We are softer as a people, I think. Cubans who grew up in Miami around being scared of horses than the people who raised that horse to be a wild beast that took him into the trap.
I'm scared of horses and birds.
What happened to you?
What happened to me? I was just we had what was that spaghetti dinner that they had at Westwood Christian?
Oh wow, it was like family night or something.
Yeah, they had like it's like one of their.
It was
benchmark
called the
events.
spaghetti dinner. I
It
think
was called the
actually.
spaghetti dinner, and it would happen on the
It was
high
a
school
hayride.
campus.
At this point, you love horses. Horses are cute. Horses are
I have no
harmless.
reason to hate a horse. I had
But
no
you're-
reason.
you're- but no, and you're not scared of them
No,
either. though.
I'd ridden a horse or two
Healthy
in my
respect,
day.
I'd
Well,
say.
no,
Healthy
okay.
respect.
Well, wait a minute. Would you say healthy respect, or are you underestimating the horse? Do you have a healthy respect?
Healthy
or you,
respect for a horse. I know how powerful that thing is between my legs and the horse. And
Hell yeah.
I had ridden a horse several times without incident. And at the spaghetti dinner, I went on my version of El Diablo, and it just went sideways. It started bucking in the air on two hooves in the air.
Terrifying.
Holding on for dear life.
Terrifying.
like the
Pastor-
Ferrari logo.
Yeah. And then the pastor runs out. He's like, yeah. What'd you do? I'm like, I was just like holding him.
He comes in on an ATV, by the way. He hauls ass on an ATV.
What'd you do? Yeah. Like it was my fault. It wasn't my fault. I was doing nothing. The horse just went a little sideways. I was very scared because I was
How old?
at the time I was just 31.
Oh.
And it was a very traumatic experience for me. And ever since
well,
that
you
day,
think
I don't
about
ride
Christopher
horses.
Reeves, correct? I mean, you think about you can fall wrong off a horse,
Not to date myself. I wasn't actually 31, but this has happened before Christopher Reeve.
Oh.
So I didn't even have
Wait,
like
it happened before
so
Christopher
we weren't even
Reeve? How?
instructed. We didn't even know. I would say that America in general wasn't respecting horses back up.
right, because if it happens to Superman, it's certainly going to happen to an 8-year-old.
You think horses did that shit on purpose? Like they got together, like we got to make an example
Yeah,
out of
we got to
somebody.
make an example out of Christopher
Thankfully, it
Reeve.
was him, not me.
Ooh, Superman. No, come on, dude. We can't do that. Like, we're going to do it. I'm going to do it. Watch this. And then next thing you know, whoop.
You know what I learned about superheroes in general?
That
I picked this up at the big Hollywood premiere that I was at earlier this week.
I feel like that was too soon. What you just did to Christopher
Too
Reeves.
soon. He's not even alive anymore, is he?
Yeah, he's dead.
It's still too soon. That's where.
The question mark in
Yo,
there.
That's
someone
where
once
too soon comes
once
from.
tried to someone
yeah,
once tried
true.
to hit me with
Yeah,
a
good
too
point
soon
there.
on JFK. I was like, come on. No, we're not doing
I'm
that.
just saying we're not doing Superman jokes killed by the horses because the horses rose up and said, which one of them do we kill? Let's kill Superman. That'll show them nothing. He still rode a Dominican horse into a mangrove.
Yeah.
It almost killed me. I think about the presence of mind where it was like 15 seconds to plunging to my death, and I was like, damn, am I going to jump off this horse
I don't know.
right now?
Which one's scarier, though? Because Mike seems to think his is scarier, and I find yours scarier.
No. I wasn't trying to compare and contrast. I was just sharing my trauma.
But you were equally traumatized.
I was equally traumatized because mine went on two hooves. That was pretty
Two
scary.
hooves is a different animal.
Let me just say right now, if I'm gonna die in a horse-related incident, I want it to be jumping off a cliff. You know what, Tony? I wouldn't have jumped off the horse. I would have held on him. And you
Well,
know
I
what?
did hold on.
If you're gonna die via horse, it's got to be stampede.
No.
Seems like a
No, that's the
brutal one.
worst.
Have you ever been around a horse before?
No, that's not the worst.
Nope.
You think that's an instant quick death?
I
You're
think
getting your ass
it's
beat.
not any more worse or better than what you guys are
No,
talking
jumping
about.
off a cliff is way better.
Like this fall down this cliff is just a
10,000
delight.
You
Horse
get to
hooves
fly.
crushing your skull.
Yeah,
can
and then the
fly.
first one crushed, dead.
You know what? Hold on. I got to think
That's
about
not
this for a
necessarily
second
true.
because now we've got. That's right, Roy. Thank you.
What did they miss?
Chris Cody's under there, and he thinks his forearms are going to help him for about 7 or 8 hooves in.
Did you take jujitsu? Do you know how to fall?
Oh, I'm trying a quick death here. I'm going for a quick
That's
death.
not a quick one.
You guys are all underestimating. He is now turned over on his stomach and is now withstanding 40 more horses running across the back of his
Now, in this
Like
scenario,
Tekashi 6ix9ine in that video.
in this scenario,
exactly.
does Chris have his giraffe stabbing knife on him?
No.
In both hands.
I like Hoist Gracie begins a fight. Just on his back. Just on his back. Beat up. Have you ever seen that meme? Home intruder goes up against jiu-jitsu guy, and the
Guy's on his back.
The worst part of a stampede is that it would not be quickly. It might be you would.
As soon as he squishes my skull, I'm
you,
done.
Yes,
No, I
you root
feel
for
like
it. Yes, you root for it. Please crush my skull once, but no. Oh, there goes my ear.
Yeah.
You guys know in this situation, none of these are good options. You guys are like,
No,
you fool,
but
there's a
Chris,
clear way to
no,
die by a
there
horse.
is.
No, you can get
There is
other
a
parts
clear way.
crushed.
Chris, do you want to get stomped in your nuts by a horse?
Have that crushed first, and then your
You
head
wouldn't
is like totally
die.
fine. You feel it.
I think as my nuts are getting crushed, so's my skull.
No, if
oh,
that's-
my
no,
nuts
no,
are
no.
Your
dead.
forearms are
Oh, my
getting
nuts are
shredded.
dead.
Your forearms are getting shredded. You have survived. The skull is just.
I'm not. I didn't say I'm surviving this.
How do you think trauma works? Because have you ever seen these wildlife videos of an antelope being eaten alive by two lions?
Yeah.
And its intestines are out, but the antelope's just
Still
chilling.
alive? Yeah.
Just chilling.
Yeah.
It's just
I can't watch
This is
those.
happening.
I can't.
Mondays, am I right?
Am I the only one here who will turn the channel before something finishes?
Fascinating.
Oh, hell no.
No, I'm
You
fascinated.
gotta watch that
I gotta
shit.
watch.
on that channel.
I can't look away.
It's
I gotta
science.
watch that shit.
Yeah.
Nature is metal.
I think I'm a coward. I feel I
follow.
judge myself when I do it. I'm like I don't want to watch something wailing to it at its death.
Well, it's not whaling. It's just out there chilling.
Dan, two of my favorite all-time videos actually don't end with their death. One of them is the lizard, where there's like a zillion
Oh, the
snakes.
iguanas. That
Yeah.
one's great.
And he's just standing there, it's like, have they seen me? I don't know if they see me. Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
Go.
it's like, oh, they saw me. They saw me. And he's running.
the iguana escaping the snakes is
Oh, my
one.
God.
But yes, you
But
can
you would
watch
have
that.
you would have turned it off because you were like, oh, he's about to get eaten. But he like evades so many times.
I think if antelopes were better friends to other antelopes, there wouldn't be as many deaths. I feel like they all just
they sell out.
scatter.
They
They're
sell
all
out.
they're always just like, whoop, this guy's screwed. I'm out of here.
Yep.
But if every time they all got together,
Put it
it was
on
like,
the-
no,
Juju.
there's 45 of us here.
Juju.
Let's all
Stampede.
just stampede at
Put
them.
it on the poll. Are antelopes bad teammates? They aren't.
They are.
They're, all
It's
of
almost
them-
like they're laughing, like,
Yes.
oh, they got Kyle.
Yeah, we're pretty strong as a group. Have you seen the horses? We're pretty strong.
You just
as a
gotta
group.
outrun one guy. That's it.
No, but we scatter panicked. Everyone is Stugotz.
You know the
I
vide-
would- yeah.
You know the videos I love watching? Giraffe fights. It's like power slap, but better.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Power
yes,
neck.
it is.
You ever
Right.
seen it?
Yeah,
It's like-
absolutely
You
right.
like those? No.
Yeah, they whip
those
their
are-
heads.
No, those are horrifying. Chris Cody thinks he can kill a giraffe from behind. The neck fights
from underneath.
The neck fights
With a steak fight.
Go
on.
With a steak knife.
the neck. How can you watch that? The neck fights between the giraffes are horrifying.
Getting underneath the giraffe would be difficult if you see them in the wild.
They are whipping their necks, which are very strong slabs at each other, and they are enormously strong animals. They're stronger than
The
horses.
sounds it makes when they two like collide,
no, yeah.
wild.
No.
The on the topic of horses, by the way, why do horses respond to the sound?
Everybody does.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Huh?
Nothing. Nothing. No response.
Hey.
You just looked over at Dan.
Bishop Rook. I'm glad we followed that tether, but we did kind of get lost in the last segment. I wanted to stay on my Hollywood vanity for just a moment because I did pick up an interesting story. We were mentioning Christopher Reeve, and I was told by a big-time Hollywood executive that there's actually a superhero rule for actors nowadays. It's always hard to cast Superman. Believe it or not, it's not one of the more desirable roles. Do you know why that is?
Dean Cain. It stopped being a good role with Dean Cain.
That's an amazing theory. Like
Well-
Dean Cain killed it.
Well, in part by saying Dean Cain, Dan kind of proved the point. It's because generally whoever plays that role is forever associated with Superman. That it's very hard for Christopher Reeve. He was a great actor, did a lot of good stuff, but for everyone, he was always associated with Superman. Brandon Routh also. Henry Cavill's probably had the best Superman career where he's done other things, but it's always going to be what he's known for.
So you're saying that Dean Cain is no longer associated with being a Chicago Bear?
He's associated. He was a Chicago Bear.
I did not know that Dean Cain was a player.
So I'm going to say he was never associated with being a Chicago Bear.
How about being associated as being the bad guy in How High? Yes, sir, Dean Cain, sir.
Oh, he was a dean.
No, different. There's a character.
Dean Cain gets typecast as the guy who, if not ruining Superman, Superman ruined him. He was
I mean, he did it on television.
But he was a heartthrob, and he took the role. And what, though? Yeah, it's a terrible theory. It's the only one I've offered so far.
What? No, it's just you're always associated with that role, and it's hard for you to get work outside of it. So there is a rule amongst actors that the advice that they get is if you're going to play a superhero, and some young actors get advice never be a superhero because of the same issue. But they tell them if you're going to play a superhero with a mask on. So people can disassociate in their minds you from the character. And to a degree, if you go through the superheroes that wear masks, Christian Bale, yes, Batman, he's going to be known for that, but he's not only known for that. Same thing with Tom Holland, even Tobey Maguire. Ben Affleck has been able to do it numerous times. It's not what you associate with him when you think about his career. So there is a working theory in Hollywood that you play, if you're going to do a superhero movie, make sure you do one with a mask.
Bit of a correction here. He was a Buffalo Bill.
It's a huge fine.
That's a
huge
fine.
fine. Buffalo Bill.
You can't
Buffalo.
say
You can't
he's
be well,
associated with the Bears and when he's a Bill. And you were just doing that to show off the useless information in your storage closet, the dusty storage closet. Go to the penalty box.
Yeah.
Go to the penalty box.
I noticed
not hold on. Penalty box.
He's going to do secondary research on the research that we already did.
No, I don't. That was useless information, and you got it wrong. That has to be a penalty.
Yeah, it's a penalty. Dude.
Why are you still near a microphone?
I had to take my headsets off, like this, and then I got
Go.
turn my mic off like
Does
this.
it help that he was a Princeton Tiger?
Go.
Close to Bears?
Roy?
No.
Roy? It was a did he hurt himself
He did.
walking to the penalty box? Hockey guy,
Washed.
tough hockey guy. What is that? Dean Cain is not where I thought we'd end up today. I'm guessing some people in the room don't even know who Dean Cain is, correct?
I have no idea who he is.
You know who Dean Cain is, man.
I'm with Amin. I thought it was the character from How High.
You didn't know him as Superman either.
No.
Mike's other theory is good, though. I do think that
I
he's...
don't think it's accurate.
I mean, all of this is just to remind you and the audience that I was at the John Wick premiere.
That's all that matters. Can you tell me anything about it before I update our tournament? Because you were doing Hollywood things around Keanu Reeves. I don't know. I heard... Look, I don't want to give away any company secrets, but Billy is talking to people about a horror film.
Yeah, we're in talks, and we got invited. Well, I got invited to the Hollywood premiere for John Wick, and it was an extraordinary movie. You all have to watch it. The action sequences in this film are absurd to the point that I need to watch it again because the action sequences, there are 3 tentpole sequences in this film, and they're all approximately 25 minutes long. Just like one uncut action sequence. There's so much going on. The movie is awesome. But the premiere, I did not feel like I belonged.
You sent me a video of a stuntman and this is hard to believe, and they couldn't have faked it. It was not CGI. Going down a row of metal escalators on 3 bounces.
Yeah, bounces on his head.
3 bounces.
Bounce number 2 is like directly on his head.
From the top of the escalator to the bottom, it's 3 bounces, gets to the bottom of the escalator. Looks like that hurt a great deal.
I saw your pictures, and you looked great, by the way, but I saw it's a big move here where you start tagging and you put styled by. Like, you've reached it, my friend, where you are being styled. No,
he didn't, says Amin. Now, Mike tried to rock something that I thought was brave. All red. All red.
I thought he looked good.
I know I pulled it off. Thank you. Whatever Amin throws in my way, I can easily deflect by my own supreme vanity and confidence.
But you were styled by. You had if someone had asked you who's your suit by, you could have answered with a name.
Well, I was
Stevie Wonder.
Let him go, man.
My friend. I have a friend that I went to high school with. A lovely Mexican man named Chase that I went to high school with, and
unnecessary adjective.
Ethnicity necessary?
Unnecessary adjective.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to do that, like with my Nicaraguan friend Joel and my Mexican friend Chase.
He's very diverse.
I'm very diverse. I have so many diverse friends.
What do you say about me?
Fat Chris.
What?
I thought you pulled it off. I thought it was bold. You went to a John Wick premiere wearing red.
Tomato red suit, and there was someone else wearing the same color suit at the premiere. How embarrassing for that man. Because I looked better.
Okay. And
it was Tom Hardy.
It was Suge Knight.
Who were you rubbing elbows with? Did you have
I was quite literally rubbing elbows with, like, because after the movie, first off, the funniest thing was at the Chinese theater where this took place. Gene Simmons
overrated. No, overrated.
No, it's wonderful.
The outside of the theater,
yeah.
Overrated.
But have you ever been on the inside? Like I have.
The inside is nice.
Have you ever been on the inside like I have for a movie premiere?
What's the concessions like at this? Like, is George Clooney just at the popcorn line?
They have free popcorn line.
Yeah. It's all free.
You've been to a Hollywood premiere too.
You know.
There's no line. I like I want a sad line waiting for popcorn that has a bunch of celebrities in it.
That is the most famous theater still left in America. That industry is about to die, right?
No. Tom Cruise saved it.
Top Gun saved it.
Yeah, Tom Cruise saved it.
Is there a more famous theater than that one for movies?
For movies?
In front of the Hollywood. It's in front of the Hollywood Walk of Fame at the center of Hollywood.
The Kodak Theater.
Right? For movies, it's probably the Chinese theater. It is the place for
so you were watching at the soul of Hollywood creativity and excess. It's the John Wick movie. This is a see and be seen.
Right. So a lot of people get tickets for the premiere, but not a lot of people get tickets for the after party. And so the after party, they funnel you into like this tent area, and it was adjacent. Like it was actually at the Hard Rock Cafe, but like the real mingling, the ASARs and the happy hour bar that they had there was right outside under a tent. And
what was the signature cocktail that they had?
I just kept it was such a madhouse that I just was grabbing whatever I could.
They usually have a name for it.
I felt very uncomfortable and it was hard to get through. So Cynthia and I brought my wife and we were like, let's just walk from one end of the room.
Uncomfortable because of how crowded it was?
Do a lap. You got to do a lap.
Crowded and I don't belong there.
But also beyond that, though, you're wearing a suit. You look like somebody, and there's going to be pictures taken, paparazzi. This is a famous.
Were you on the red carpet?
Thing.
Also,
they brought me to the red carpet, and I felt so insecure in that moment. I just walked around. There was a back, and they were like, "Yeah, if you don't want to walk the red carpet, you can walk the back." And I was just like, "Cynthia, can we just do that?"
So first and foremost, you walked the red carpet. Nobody saw you because you blended in with.
Well, no, he said he.
I didn't. No, it was a tomato red, which is like kind of like an off red.
He just wanted to make the joke.
Like, actually,
all right, no.
And you didn't see the pocket square that really brought everything out.
I mean, so you're just saying, can we put this photo up and have the internet decide?
Yes, please.
Oh, I know I pulled it off. Yeah, no, the internet's going to be mean because they don't like me, but I look damn good.
In your defense, Mike, wearing a suit and being tall, right?
Yeah.
Wearing a suit like that and being tall, people are going to assume you're somebody.
Yeah. No, it happened.
Yeah.
But I was walking.
You would have felt ridiculous if someone had said, like, who are you? And then interviewed you and like, why are you here? And then you're like,
I like John Wick.
I like Parabellum. So I was walking down, and usually with the Hollywood stars.
Suit styled by my Nicaraguan friend.
No. Mexican friend. That's racist. So Joel is my Nicaraguan friend. I was styled by Chase. So I was walking in Chase's suit, and you know, in Hollywood, the old adage is actors are way shorter than you think. Yep. So friend of the show that I think Billy fought with once, Frank Grillo, holds true. Much shorter than I thought.
He's short?
Yeah, he's short.
And he plays a badass and everything.
Yeah.
So goddamn handsome, though.
He is very handsome, but he's short. I'm surprised by that. Having seen him in what was the name of the MMA show?
Kingdom.
Yes, it's great.
He was phenomenal in it.
Was that his star turn, or was it before that?
He's gotten a star turn. Yeah.
All the Avengers movies.
Yeah, star turn later in his career, which is pretty cool.
Tiny.
He's small.
Wow.
Billy fought him?
Yeah, they fought on air because Billy, I think, questioned the authenticity of his hair to him directly.
Wow.
That's your lane.
Dude, his hair is rocking. So, Terry Crews.
He looks great for 57.
He looks fantastic. Terry Crews. Bigger than you would think.
Yeah,
57. Grillo is 57.
Dude is looking good.
Hollywood has shredded that dude up. He played a pass. He always plays passable badass in his late 50s. I thought that guy was in his 40s.
But here was the most surprising one. Keanu Reeves is tall.
Yeah,
he is tall.
He's a tall one.
I thought for sure this would be the action movie star that they just cast a bunch of small people around him. He's legitimately tall.
You know when I realized that? I made the discovery in a John Wick movie, and it was only next to Boban, where I'm like, most people probably looked at that and weren't understanding how big Boban actually is. And I'm watching that, and I'm like, oh, dear God, Wick should look a lot smaller than that against this person.
No, he's not. He's like standing next to me, and I'm a big guy and
husky.
Yeah, well, I'm pushing.
Whoa.
I'm meat bone.
He's just doing a thing right now.
No, he's trying to be a dickhead to me, but it's cool. When you're at the top, people want to knock you down. There's only one way to go.
It's hard to wear a red suit with any body type. You to pull it off successfully. You have to.
Husky is fair. I mean, I'm more meat bone now. I'm pushing 235. I've been going to the gym every day for a month, prepping for this tomato red suit.
Oh,
I'm
did
very
you actually?
proud.
So how was
my new fitness plan? Is to get tattoos in places that look bad if I don't work out. And it keeps me honest. Do that.
The love handle tattoos. That's where I'd go. That's right where I'd go.
Yeah. Love handles.
You felt uncomfortable. You fit out.
No, because my Mexican friend Chase styled me so right. I was perfectly tailored. I was good.
No, but you didn't feel like you were famous enough to be with the people you were with.
No, I mean, I'm standing next to Keanu Reeves, who's being super nice to everybody, and it's just a madhouse around him. Again, Keanu Reeves is very tall, not quite as tall and handsome as I am, but he also looks great. He's also 57 years old. Too, and he's
great
just
shape.
He looks
something's happening
phenomenal.
here. Why is everybody so old and looking so good?
Tony, there you go. Because Hollywood. Because all the action stars. There's a whole giant pipeline.
58 years old.
Hair suspiciously black too.
Hello, golly hi.
Well, he dyes his hair. He when he's not in roles, he lets himself be gray and all that. But watch John Wick though. Watch John Wick Chapter 4 because it is just an absolutely bonkers action movie. You can gather from the trailer, there is one big scene in one of the main action sequences where he's just driving around in a car with no doors shooting out of it, and it's the Arc de Triomphe, and it goes on for like what feels like 15 minutes. It's insane.
I love that we've become basically that channel at hotels where Mario Lopez is on, just telling you about movies.
I was surprised he wasn't there.
Or Maria Menounos.
I am going to update the tournament, and Tom Haberstroh is going to join us next. We want to actually do a serious thing because the officiating in the NBA has gotten to a place where the players are doing stuff you don't usually see. When you're screaming into the sky, you're cheating. And then it gets worse weeks later, and everyone's like being fined tens of thousands of dollars. We got a mess on our hands in the NBA.
But we'll do that next.
Yep.